Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here for Love and Marriage Detroit. We're on season 2, episode 5, y'all. I think they're calling this taking out the trash. I'm going to call it Petty Betties. Petty Betties because it's official, y'all. It is official that this new girl, Kimberly Dobine, is officially petty. She's petty. And if she thinks she's going to get outdone by Christina, Christina's like, girl, you want to be petty? I can match some petty. Because Christina was like, I can get on this petty shit too. And she hopped right on that petty train as well. They breaking out these notebooks. It's also official that, what's her name? Dr. Latoya, she needs to stop getting into beefs with people because she can't hang. She cannot hang. She ain't got no punching power. Nothing. Two hits, she's down on the ground. What they call that in boxing, a weak jaw. Latoya got a weak jaw. She knows how to talk a lot of mess. She knows how to maybe throw one jab. But the minute she get jabbed back, she got that weak jaw. She goes down to the ground. And it's also official that Kobe lives in a whole nother world. Kobe has a vision of the world. And the reason why she's so unhappy is because she has a vision. And she wants everybody to fit into her vision. It doesn't really matter if her vision is a big old fantasy. She walking around talking about you shouldn't be calling pregnant women out their name. But yet, she running around getting in mess she shouldn't even be getting into. Girl. Like I said, that's the world. That's a world she wants to create. Where she can run around, say anything, do anything, butt herself into situations. And then what people say is, okay, that's okay, Kobe. We're not going to say nothing to you. Because you're a pregnant lady. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. But it started off with Christina's surprise birthday party. Like we said, we don't know how much of a surprise it was, but she acted surprised. So I guess that's all that counts. She acted surprised. And of course, Latoya showed up. Latoya showed up because when she went home to her husband, Anthony, Petty Anthony, and she said, well, I don't even think I'm going to go because, you know, I got a weak jaw. And the last time I was in the ring with Chelsea, she knocked me out. She knocked me down to the ground. So I'm not really willing to go to this party because the only conversation I want to hear from Chelsea is for her apologizing to me. And Anthony said, that's fine. I'm going anyway. Because Anthony said, I don't have no weak jaw. Anthony said, I don't have no weak jaw. So whatever Chelsea throws at me, I'm willing to punch it back to her. In fact, he was the one that said the nasty stuff in the first doggone place, to be honest with you. He was the one that started it. So in a lot of way, Latoya over here getting knocked down to the ground by folks, when really it was her petty husband who was the one that was chiming up and saying a bunch of foul stuff. But Dr. Latoya said, no, I'm going. And Anthony tried to pump his wife up and say, listen, yeah, you need to come because you need to show them what a successful, sexy black dollar looks like. That's right, Anthony. Pump your wife up because, like I said, she got a weak jaw. And instead of throwing punches and getting knocked out, she needs to learn to stay away from it. That's what she really ain't built for this life. She ain't made for this life. She really need to stay away from it because she can't hang in this world. And, the stuff that Anthony said to Chelsea was foul. They started replaying some of it, him talking about, Christina, you a boss now. And so you need to stop hanging around these birds, calling Chelsea a bird. So I could see why Chelsea's still hot a year later. Because that was some crazy stuff to say. And in actuality, though, it's really Anthony who needs to be apologizing to Chelsea. But, what's his name? Russell has asked him to apologize. Not Russell. I think Brandon asked Anthony to apologize to Chelsea. And he said he ain't going to do it. He's not going to do it. Like he said, he done got no weak jaw. He can take a punch. He said he can throw one and he can take one. So he's just good. It's his wife, though, who can't take no punch. So anyway, they showed up at the party. And once again, Latoya and Chelsea get into a little bit of something. One thing Chelsea going to do is she going to speak the truth. And she said, yeah, you know what? I know I was mean and it was intentional. I ain't going to lie. I'm not going to sit over here and pretend like Dr. Latoya does, that Latoya doesn't know what she's doing. See, Latoya throws punches, hides her hands and says, I don't know who did it. It wasn't me. Chelsea said, yeah, I did it. And I did it on purpose. I'm going to admit it. I did it on purpose. And the truth of the matter is you kind of catching a little bit of this blowback based on my animosity for your husband. But she says, you know what, I'm going to apologize to you, Dr. Latoya, so we can move on. And then the man who really caused the problem, which was Anthony, he sat over there with his mouth shut. He sat over there with his mouth shut as his wife took that beating. And then it was like, he didn't even come in and try to save her too much. Man, this is a petty train. There's a lot of people on this show that are really, really petty. And Latoya was like, yeah, you should be apologizing to me because I didn't call you out your name. And then she said, well, let's just let bygones be bygones because it's not like you've really no damage has happened to my business. Of course, no damage has happened to your business because I don't even know if that business is thriving that much. Is anybody buying this wine, Opulence? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe somebody's buying it out there in the world. What does it taste like? Is it Moscato? Or is it some nice red wine or something? I don't know what it is. But anyway, Christina shows up at her surprise party and she's feeling good. She's feeling overwhelmed that so many people have come out to support her and love on her because, you know, she's been going through a tough time with her husband where she hasn't quite felt loved nor supported. And Brandon presented her with the ring and he got choked up and he said, you know what? I don't know anyone who fights as hard as you do. And he said, maybe it's time for him to start fighting. He said, he's here to stay. He's here to stay. He presented her with a nice fat rock diamond ring. And he says he wants to really try this relationship. He said he's in it to win it. He is in it to win it, which is good. And while he was sitting there, Kobe over there with a bad look on her face. Kobe really don't like Christina. What for? Because it's not reciprocal? Well, Kobe find any reason to be unhappy, period. Any reason. But once they all sit down at the table, Christina's like, I sense some tension at this table. What's going on? This is my birthday party. We supposed to be happy. And then they got to go over it one more time about how Chelsea knocked down Dr. Latoya. And then she's right. She is right when she calls in the two stooges because Kobe implanted herself into that fight, which she didn't need to. And then when she got punched, she said, you're not supposed to be punching and calling a pregnant woman out her name. Not somebody with child. Her husband, Russell, tried to tell her to be quiet and, hey, calm down. And she looked over her husband and said, no, I'm not going to calm down. There you go. She don't listen. She runs to the problem. She ain't listening to her husband. She ain't listening to nobody. She ain't listening to Chelsea. Everybody telling her, stay out of it. She goes, no, I don't want to stay out of it. What I want to do is live in my alternate universe, which is I get to do anything, say anything, and all of you have to adjust to me. I don't need to adjust to none of you people. That's the world that Kobe lives in. She wants to do zero adjustments, but she wants everyone to adjust to her. And then next thing you know, Christina got on her petty train too, and she started talking about Kimberly while she wasn't there, talking about, just to let y'all know, I did set up a little meeting. I'm going to have a meeting with Kimberly. We're going to try to hash everything out. But just to let you know, I wasn't falling for none of those tears Kimberly had. None of them, not a one. And I know she was sitting over there saying a whole lot of stuff about me, but I'm going to let you know right away, she got her own bad deeds. Her closet stank too. She coming over here trying to run up behind me and tell me what I haven't done to be a good friend. But she ain't that good of a friend either. So of course, they taking it all in. They taking it all in because pretty soon, like happens later on, there's going to be someone who takes all this information back to Kimberly. And lo and behold, who is it going to be? The pregnant lady. The pregnant lady, she not only with child, she with gossip too. She with child and she with gossip. Christina said Kimberly always want to play the victim. She always want to play the victim and act like I never did anything for her. But her closet is full of stuff from my, I don't know, it's her designer line or something. Her closet is full of my stuff. So that for her to act like she ain't been sniffing up behind me, that's not true. That's not true. But they sitting here arguing at this table, but Brandon says it right. There you go, Brandon. You said something good. He said, to be honest, at this point in time, I really don't care who Christina's fussing at as long as she ain't fussing at me. As long as she ain't fussing at me, he goes, can't stop my wife from always fussing. But as long as she ain't fussing at me, I'm good. I am real, real good. Because Brandon's trying to get back in his house. He's trying to get back in the good graces of his wife Because what he realized was when he went over there to live with his mama was not going to be doing the stuff for him that Christina does. He was like, who going to wash these clothes? Who going to do this? Who going to do that? That mama ain't. That mommy said, don't come over here expecting to be treated like no little boy. Absolutely not. So Brandon is trying to get back in the good graces of his wife. He done bought her a diamond ring. Christina said he's starting to act right now. And he's like, good. And I need to put you back to work then, Christina, because they got this property over here where they be renting out to these deadbeat tenants. And the deadbeat tenants done trashed the whole place, had some kind of party up in there, broke stuff. Some crazy woman got caught on the Ring camera breaking everything. Some drunk person cussing people out that ain't even in the room, talking to herself. And Brandon like, I can't handle this, Christina. I'm going to need you to take over this property and be the property manager because I got other things I need to be doing. Like what, Brandon? What you got to do? Christina was like, I already got enough responsibilities. I'm trying to get my singing career going. I'm trying to get my being a brand ambassador. I got these kids to take care of and everything. I ain't trying to take over being no landlord to no deadbeat tenants. And he's like, well, you're going to have to help me out. I need you, Christina. I really, really need you. So they're like, okay, well, as long as you keep being good and you be giving me the stuff I need and treating me right, then maybe I'll come over here and help you a little bit. As long as you giving me the energy I want. Brandon is liking it. He's like, shoot, let's go on over here. We can get busy right now then. What you trying to do, Christina? What you trying to do? You trying to get me in the mood? Because I'm in the mood. Brandon is like, he is in the mood and he tired of being in the doghouse. He's like, we could do it right here, right now, in this little warehouse we in, little office space we in, right here on this dirty floor. We don't need much. We don't need much. And then we got to see the scene of Dr. Latoya and Anthony about to go take a trip to Orlando, Florida, to go to Disney to celebrate the young boy's 13th birthday party. And Christina said, and Dr. Latoya is being called out as being a control freak. She got to orchestrate everything, tell everybody what to do, bring your suitcases here, do this, pack this, don't take this, don't take that. And she's like, she want everything to be perfect. She want everybody to be curated. And so the way she creates everything perfect and curated is give a lot of people a lot of orders. A lot of people, a lot of orders. Dr. Latoya, let me give you a hint. If you make yourself in control of everybody, then you're going to always have a whole lot of responsibilities. Dr. Latoya says she's overwhelmed with so much to do, and that's because she's really trying to over orchestrate anything. That son is 13 years old. He better learn how to pack, and you better let him suffer the consequences of his wrong packing. And what I mean by that is he better learn how to pack enough underwear. He better learn how to do these things. And if you're always the one to save him, he doesn't have to learn it. Because what he says is, I really don't have to learn nothing because I already know my mama gonna come around here and tell me what to do. Let him go on a trip one time, not with enough underwear, not with enough shirts, and let him be washing out his clothes every day on the holiday. Every day, let him start doing it. Then he'll learn, you know what, next time I go, I don't want to be wearing the same dirty underwear. Sometimes people got to suffer through something till they learn that, oh, I really wasn't doing this for my mother. I was doing it for myself. Because when you lord it over them, telling them everything to do, they think they're doing it for you. Just like, you always got to tell a kid, you need to bring a jacket. It's going to be cold. Bring a jacket. It's going to be cold. I don't need to bring a jacket. I don't need a jacket. Then you get there and they don't bring no jacket and now they're cold and now they want to borrow your jacket. No, you sit here in the cold. You sit here in the cold and then you're going to realize next time to bring a jacket. Maybe it sounds mean, it's harsh, but sometimes folks got to be taught lessons. And this is how people grow. This is how they learn. They learn by falling down and getting back up. But if all you doing is saving them, and it becomes a certain time you got to teach it. It does, sometimes kids are too young to make those decisions if they 4, 5, 6. But other times, you know what? What would be the harm? What would be the harm in letting them have what they want and say, that's fine. If that's what you want to do and you want to pack wrongly for a trip, then when you get there, you'll realize that you should have packed enough underwear. And now you don't have enough underwear. So I need you to go over there to the sink and wash out that underwear because, you're not going to keep wearing that same dirty, nasty, funky underwear. That's not going to happen because don't nobody want to be around you funky. Nobody want to be hanging around you with the same old funky shirt on and you didn't pack enough shirts. You didn't pack enough underwear. So every night before you go to bed, you can go on over there to the sink and you can wash out your funky underwear and your funky t-shirts, and then you'll learn. And then what'll happen is you won't have to be in charge of packing for everyone. It only takes a couple of times and then people will start learning, Dr. Latoya. I'm just here to tell you, people will start learning. She says she got to do it though. She don't know how to stop doing it because she makes everybody need to be on her level. That's what Latoya thinks. Latoya thinks everyone is beneath her. That's why she be getting knocked out with that weak jaw, because she underestimates people. She thinks she's elevated and everyone's down here. So she always feels she's got to correct people. Part of that is her superiority complex. But like I said, she got a weak jaw. Just when she thinks you weak, somebody come along and punch her in the jaw, and then she talking about, you need to apologize to me. Girl, no, you just need to stay out of stuff. You need to stop being a control freak and stay out of stuff and always trying to control conversations and everything else. But then we had to see this little scene of Kimberly. You know, she was throwing a soiree for empowering women. She seemed like she had a nice crowd there. And that's when the lady with child also had to show up with some gossip. So the lady was pregnant with the child and she pregnant with the gossip. She had to bring it on over there to Kimberly, let her know, I just want to let you know that at Christina's birthday party, she was talking about you. She was talking about you. So I hear y'all going to be having lunch or something. So you need to be prepared because she was talking about you. And Kimberly's like, I don't know why this woman was talking about me. All that I did for her baby shower. And so anyway, Kimberly said, well, that's okay. I'm going to be ready for her. I'm going to be ready for her when I get ready to meet her for lunch. And then later on, we also got to see a scene between Lakeita and Bravo and Christina. And Christina over there stirring up mess with Lakeita and Bravo. Christina, girl, stay out of it. Stay out of it. Stay out of that woman's marriage, because right now she ain't asked for your help with nothing. And Christina's over there talking about, we always see Bravo. He everywhere, but we don't never see you. Why you in the shadows of your husband? Girl, maybe that's where she want to be. She don't have to be extroverted like you, Christina. She don't have to be extroverted like you. Lakeita already said she really don't want to go nowhere. She just want Bravo at home with her. She just want Bravo at home with her. And what she is, she says she really scared her husband might run into some violence, because I guess he must run like some club. So I guess they got two branches of their business. They got maybe the club side, and then they got the like restaurant side. And the club side, I guess, is a little sketchy. It must be in a sketchy part of Detroit where folks, you know, is not always on the up and up. And Lakeita's always afraid that something going to pop off at the club. Is going to be a shooting or something, and her husband might get killed. And she's had this past trauma with that happening with her dad. And so she lives with this fear. And she was crying over just talking about it. And you know, I said, you know what? I know everybody want an entrepreneurial husband because they think that, oh, he's going to have more time. It's actually the opposite. Entrepreneur husbands actually have less time. So I wish that fantasy also would get debunked. A lot of people say, oh, I like a man that's an entrepreneur. But what they don't understand is that entrepreneur takes a lot of risk and he doesn't have a lot of time. But yet that woman wanted him to be a different man. You should have just married a 9-to-5 man. Then you have Lakeita, who has this trauma from her husband or her father being shot, you know, like at a club or something. And somehow or another, she ends up being married to a man that owns a club. It's just all so weird. And then she wants him to change his whole business. So she wants him to get out of the club business, move towards the restaurant side, because she feels like it'd be a little bit more safer. But I don't know. He may want to move towards the more restaurant side. But if the club side is where he makes the majority of his money, it may not even happen. So what, you got to live in constant fear and constant like being worried? I don't know. Some people are not built for the life that they married to. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that with Kobe too, with Russell. Kobe not really prepared to be married to this Russell fellow who's an entrepreneur, because she's thinking that it's easy to have two entrepreneurs in the house. It really is hard to have two entrepreneurs in the house. Christina and Brandon are dealing with it. It's hard enough having one entrepreneur in the house, let alone having two, because they work a lot. Their hours are not always exactly 9-to-5. There can be ups and downs in the business. Sometimes there can be some uncertainty. And if you're not a person who can deal with that, you're better off not being with a person who's an entrepreneur. I think there's this sexy, you know, aura that people have given to entrepreneurial life. And it's not as sexy as people think. And then when you look at the real people in relationships with entrepreneurs, you often see them complaining about the same time that the business owner doesn't have any time for them. And that's Lakeita. So she's over here. Not only is she complaining about the time, she's also complaining about the type of business, the style of business, and the danger involved with the business. And what's her name? Colby over here complaining the same thing about Russell. Colby thinks that somewhere along the way, Russell is going to all of a sudden stop being such an entrepreneurial, and he's going to be at home more, helping taking care of the kids, the house, and all this other kind of stuff. And then she's going to be able to go off and be an influencer. Girl, that's not going to happen. You should have got a man with a 9-to-5. That if you would have got a man with a 9-to-5, that might have been more of an option for you. But it's not going to be an option with what Russell's doing. It's not coming. You're going to have to wait until your kids are older, and then those kids are more self-sufficient, and then that will give you more time for yourself, and maybe you can get a little bit more into your own entrepreneurial spirit that you have. People have fantasies in their head, then they marry a fantasy, and then when the fantasy starts to be crumble and die, then they try to turn their partners to fit the fantasy that they've had, because what they really don't want to say is, it was me who had the fantasy. I messed up. I was living in a fantasy world. But instead of recognizing that, accepting it, they constantly try to get their partners to mold into the fantasy that they had. And it's just going to create unhappiness for them and for their partners. It really, really is. But at the last part of the episode, we had to see this petty scene with Kimberly and Christina. They both came in. Kimberly came in with her fur coat. She going to wear a fur coat. Kimberly going to wear a fur coat in Detroit to let everybody know she got a full-length mink fur coat. And she said, well, I do have things to talk to you about. And Kimberly said she brought a notebook. And Christina said, that's fine. You brought a notebook. I brought one too. What? Are these petty women walking around with a notebook? Who walks around with a notebook when they get ready to meet somebody? And they say they walk around with a notebook so they can write down things, because whenever they get ready to talk to each other, they can never get out a word in edgewise. All they do is sit there and scream back and forth. They had that whole restaurant disrupted. Everybody was looking around talking about what is going on. They might as well just have exchanged their notebooks. Why bring a notebook and both of you are screaming about your individual notebooks? Just hand each other their notebooks and then maybe you can read each other's. They was over there talking about who's the real influencer, who started first, who's mad at who really want to be like the other person. Kimberly's like, you talk about I want to be like you, and I got all your fashion in my closet. Here's all your stuff back. She did throw out a lot of stuff though. She did throw out a lot of stuff, but she might have bought it because she was trying to support Christina. I don't know, but she had a lot of stuff to return and throw on the floor. And then Kimberly went back to her go-to. You a liar, you a liar, you a liar. Oh, goodness. There must be some truth to it, to Kimberly, because you're so upset about it. There's got to be some truth to it because you're just so upset about it. It just feels so high schoolish, like I said before. It feels so high schoolish. And she said, you know what? You can have all this trash fashion back if you want it, because I don't need it. You can have it back. And she was throwing it all over the floor of the restaurant. This is a woman who says she's here to empower women in business. She is here to empower women in business. And what she did was she got on here and basically trashed another woman's business. Not only did she trash another woman's business, but she called the product of the other woman's business trash in and of itself. Kimberly, that is not empowering. It is not empowering. But anyway, y'all, that's all I got. Short video. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.